Okay, thank you, Priya, for confirming. So, guys, very good evening, first of all. So, the today's topic is like seriousness, expectedness, causality assessment. And you know what these terms are? These terms are very much important while assessing the ICSR. Why? Because based on these parameters, we can assess the case, whether it is a serious case or non-serious case, whether it is an expected or unexpected case, and causality assessment means whether there is a relationship between the drug and the event occurred or not. Okay, so that kind of thing is very important for assessing the any of the ICSR. So let's see what we will cover in today's class. So, what is the content for today's class is type of ICSRs, like what are various types of ICSRs, what are various seriousness criteria, the concept of expectedness and the causality assessment, which is today's topic. We are talk around these topics only. So now move to the first topic, that is type of ICSRs. So actually there are two type of ICSRs always in the PV processing. First is the initial cases and second is the follow-up cases. Okay, so initial cases is the one who received first time, the case which is received first time from the reporter to the respective MAN or to the regulatory authority or whatever the receiver it is. And when we are saying initial case, it doesn't mean that it have any information or it is not a valid case. That case must be the valid case. Okay. And when we are saying the valid case, so what is the criteria for validity? That case should have the four minimal criteria for a valid report, that is initial patient or identifiable patient, the identifiable reporter, the suspect drug, the suspected reaction. Okay. So these all should be there. Then a case is a valid case. And you know what? Whenever we receive these cases in as first time into the database or first time from the reporter, we need to. That's why that is very important. Why we are performing the duplicate check. This is the reason we are performing the duplicate check. We need to assess whether the case is initially received or it is receiving the first time. Okay, and if it is the first time, then it is an initial case, and if it is a follow-up, then we have to assess further whether the follow-up is an significant follow-up or non-significant follow-up. Significant follow-up means based on that there is some change in the assessment. Okay, change in the assessment means previously the case is serious. Now we receive the follow-up information. Then the case will be became non-serious and or vice versa. Like previously the case was non-serious because we do not have the much information regarding the ADR, but now we have received the follow-up and in which we receive more information regarding the additional information of the ADR, which confirms that, like for example, in previously we do not have any tick on any of the seriousness criteria. But once we follow up, we receive the information regarding the hospitalization. We receive the discharge summary when patient was admitted to the hospital. All these details when we receive regarding that ADR, it means the case is serious, and even initial case do not have any seriousness criteria. Still, when we receive the follow-up information and we receive this that patient is admitted on this date and patient was discharged on this date and this was the duration of the which stay in the hospital. So that's how we can conclude that hospitalization means it is a kind of criteria for seriousness. So the case became serious. Even previously, there was no seriousness criteria was given. Or sometimes what happens, sometimes follow-ups, we receive follow-up information directly, and sometimes the reporter conducts the follow-up. That what means the reporter conducts the follow-up? like when we are processing the initial case, okay, we are not confirmed that whether the case is having single patient or multiple patient, or is it from a study, or is it from, or if source, some source, we have not fully confirmed that what type of source it is. Then also we do the conduct follow-up information to receive those missing information. Might be we know there is a valid patient, but we do not know the gender of the patient. So we can, conduct a follow-up to get the gender of the patient. So that kind of follow-up we can conduct, and we can that reporter basically can conduct those kind of information if they feel while processing the initial cases that this information is missing and we need this information, that is very much required and this must have with the reporter. Then they will conduct with the follow with the reporter, the initial reporter. So to get more information or the report or the information which was missing during the initial time, because there is one more thing. There's a time duration gap. My initial case was received 15 days ago. Okay, now we are conducting follow-up. So within this 15 days of period, we must have more information. Okay, so those more information we can gather, and that makes the case more accessible, and you can assess the closer relationship between the event and the drug. Okay, is it clear, guys? I hope it is clear. So, see what is the follow-up case approaches. See, it is written here that at the time of original report, sufficient details about the patient and the reporter should be collected and retained to enable future investigation within the constraints imposed by the local data privacy law. So you also know that there are so many local rules, and sometimes regional rules are working. Like if you can see, there are rules for GDPR rules, that is for the Global Data Protection Act, okay, or regulation. So that as per those GDPR rules, the patient telegraphic need not to be transmitted. Yet privacy detail of the patient need to be maintained. Okay, because we should not disclose the patient information. Or sometimes there are other guidelines for masking the information of sender, masking the information related to the reporter. So those kind of guidelines are there. So might be possibly because of those, we are not able to gather those information during the initial time. But now, while conducting the follow-ups, we can have those information. Okay, and like what are others? What is the need of this follow-up? Like ADR cases when received first are generally incomplete. Okay. Like if you experience some ADR today itself, and you are not sure whether it is a, like you feel fever, you have taken some drug XYZ and you are feeling like fever. Okay. In that scenario, you are not sure whether this is happening with the drug or it is happening with something other causal, you can say foreign particle or uh, some other factors are important to for this ADR. In that scenario, you cannot have the full information. Hence, we can make an effort to gather more information by conducting these follow-ups. Okay, nature and extent of follow-ups, like it may be medical significance or not. So, as I told you, that the case may be serious or non-serious based on the medical significance, and like origin, what is the origin of the case, whether the case directly received from the consumer or it is reported by the physician or it is taken from the literature. Because initially we do not have this information. So might be when you go to the consumer, go to the doctor, okay, and doctor again suggested that you need to report this to this vendor or to this MAH, okay, marketing authorization holder or to the regulatory authority. At that time, those people do reporting of those ADR, and we can confirm that the report source is the consumer slash physician. Okay. Other factors are like expectedness, like whether the drug is really responsible for those ADR or not. That kind of expectedness means the causal relationship. Expectedness means whether it is expected behavior from that drug or not. That is called expectedness actually. We will see in detail. So there is again very important thing that is called day zero. Okay, what is day zero? The day when we receive the information first time. Okay, and when we receive the information, it is a you can say case should be valid. Okay, case should be valid, and if it is valid, then the day when we receive that information is called as the day zero. It means when we receive a valid case initially, that day is called as the day zero. And why it is important? It is important because of the to follow the regulatory laws. Regulatory law in the sense whether if the case need to be reported within 15 calendar days or within 90 calendar days or within 7 calendar days. Based on that. Okay. So that's why the day zero is very important. And remember, when you are saying day zero, that case should be valid. Then only day zero is applicable. If it is an invalid case, then it would not be applicable for the invalid case or cases which are excluded from the processing. Now coming to the what is kind of seriousness or what are you can say seriousness, serious adverse event to cause, or you can say the factors which makes a case as a serious case. So what are those? When an ADR is resulting in death, or when a ADR is like life threatening, requires inpatient hospitalization or prolongation of the existing hospitalization. So there is two different things in this third point. First is like because of his condition, either it requires a new hospitalization or and if it is already in hospital and he has gone through some medication, based on that medication he experiencing something, and suppose he was about to discharge from the hospital today, and because of that vaccine is injected to him or some injection is given to him, and because of that it is feeling injection site pain or injection site some reaction or the reaction. Because of that, doctor told them to stay for one more day or 2 days. So that 2 days, because of that injection, that hospitalization gets prolonged to next 2 days. So that is again a contributing factor to the seriousness. Okay. Because previously it might be there are certain other conditions they were because of certain other conditions they were hospitalized, but now they are in hospitalization getting prolonged because of this reason. Okay, so that's why these are two different terms. You need to understand whether it is a new hospitalization or if it is already hospitalized. Then you cannot say the case is serious because patient was already hospitalized until or unless because of that medication you have taken, the injection you have taken, because of that, your duration of the in hospitalization is getting prolonged. Then only it is called as the serious ICSR. Based on that ICSR, what are next? Next is the resulting in persistent or significant disability or incapability. Okay, so it is again something like which cause the permanent or significant disability, or that is also called as inability or incapacity. Congenital anomaly or birth defect. So it is something what is called as when mother is taking the drug and the effect is on to the baby as well. Okay, during the time of pregnancy, mother is taking some medicine and there is some ADR happens. What that we've already seen what happened in the time of thalidomide tragedy. Okay, the effect of that thalidomide drug is teratogenic. Okay, it is like something related to the drug which is causing a disease called as the phocomelia, in which the newly born baby having the fused limb or improper growth. And there is the last is the medically significant or important medical event. So these are something which is based on the list. There is a list which is published on every 6 months. That is called IME. That is important medical event. Based on that IME, those cases are serious or non-serious. Okay, if that event is present in that list, then the case is become serious, or because that event is present in that category of important medical event. Okay, so these are the various seriousness criteria, and this is a burning question while in the PV interview, that what are the various criteria for the seriousness of an ADR or of an ICSR. So you have to list these 5 or 6 categories as an reason for an ICSR became as a serious. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now, what is the expectedness and unexpectedness of the ADR? Okay, so I will just brief it like when something, when you are taking the drug and the expected behavior of the drug is called the expected. Means when you are taking the injection of tetanus, okay, there might be a chance of pyrexia or fever. When there is a newly born baby and we are giving them injection for tetanus, then they should have fever. Okay, so it is an expected behavior for that tetanus injection. Okay, so it is already written in the prescription, or it is already written in the reference documents. Those are called as the PIS, that the package insert, or the SPC, that is called as summary product characteristics. Okay, so whatever the standard document, if it is written there that fitness injection may cause 20, that may cause the fever in next 24 hours, and that happens, then it is an expected behavior of the drug. But if something which is not written into the reference document, then it is an unexpected behavior. Okay, and if a case which having the unexpected ADR, those are more important and need to be more focused, because it is unexpected and happening. Because when you know it is what I quote an example of fitness. If a baby is having fever and you know that it is an expected behavior of the tetanus injection, then it is fine. But if you have taken some drug and you do not know that that drug is also may cause the fever, but you are feeling that feverish, and it is not written anywhere in any different document of that drug, because of that drug, a fever need to be experienced by the patient, then yes, it is something unexpected. I'm just putting a vague example of fever. It might be something else. Some rashes is there on the injection site, or some pain is, or some headache should be there, or some dizziness experience, and it is not written anywhere. Then it is called as the unexpected. Okay, so and the unexpected something also where the severity, nature, specificity, or outcome is not consistent, or it is not written anywhere. Okay, and expected ADR with fatal outcome should be considered unexpected, or unless the local regional product labeling. What I already told you, that if it is not associated with any of the reference document, then yes, it is something unexpected. But if it is written somewhere, then it is expected and should not be automatically be expected for the suspect drug in question. So we should not conclude, like make decision that it is unexpected, or this is something unexpected behavior, until or unless we do not have the full information of that drug, or we should not have gone through the reference standards complete. Okay. So this is something unexpectedness. And same expectedness is like the concept of expectedness refers to the event that may or may not have identified and documented previously. What I already told you. That if it is documented and it is happening, then it is an expected behavior. And if it is not documented anywhere and it is happening, then it is unexpected behavior. The adverse event, the adverse event will be unexpected. And so, these are the synonyms which is used based on the different reference standard. Like when it is used as unexpectedness, when it is used as unlisted and unlabeled, I will let you know in the next slides. So unless it is mentioned in the appropriate reference standard information safety document of the drug, even if it is a medical occurrence expected for the disease being treated. Okay. So this what is the rationale of this expectedness or unexpectedness? It is very much important in the during the signal detection. Okay, because if something expected, then it is fine. But if something unexpected we are getting, so it might or might not be a new signal. New signal is what? Signal is nothing, but it is something which was previously unknown or incompletely known. Those are called as the signal. And if we come to know more about that incomplete information, or if we get something new findings from the associated with, then it could be the expected behavior, or you can say unexpected behavior. Okay, and that may be a signal because it was incompletely known. Now we are getting more information that so that is you are one step ahead. You have one step more information from that. Sure. Okay. So this is the term like in which based on which document why it is called as the expectedness, based on which document it is called labeledness, and based on which document it is called as listedness. So there is when we use something expectedness and unexpectedness in the clinical trial only, and when we are saying expected or unexpected means we are going to the clinical trial route, and it must be written documented in the IV, that is information process. Okay. And when we are saying labeledness and unlabeledness, it is based on the reference standard information, whether the AE is previously documented or not documented in the RSI. So RSI is nothing but it is the reference standard document which is always required by the manufacturer. And this document is always with manufacturer basically. And sorry, these reference standard information is basically with manufacturer. And why with manufacturer? Because these are the reference standard, that is the reference safety information. Those are kind of written SOPs, and the manufacturer need to follow those obligations which is written into the reference standard information. Because if it is written that excipient need to be taken 100 mg only, so you cannot exceed the excipient limit from more than 100 mg. Okay, so those reference safety information you need to follow by manufacturing the drug, and if it is written there and if it is happening, then it is called as the labeled, and if it is not written there and is still happening, then it is called as the event is called as the unlabeled. And listedness or unlistedness, it is again assessed against the global reference documents like CCDS. CCDS is nothing, it is company code data set. So and there are certain type of different safety information documents. Those are SMBCs, like Summary of Product Characteristics, USPIL, that is United States Describing Information, JPI, that is Japanese Describing Information, or CM, that is Canadian Monograph. So based on these reference, like these are the type of reference standard document based on their origin. Like if it is written in or published in US country, then it is called as USPIL. If it is in Japan, then it is called Japanese PIL. Sorry, PIL, not L. And if it is in Canada, so it is called as the CM, that Canadian minimum. Okay, so based on origin, it is called as different names. But when you compare these reference standards or reference safety information, they are more or less contain same kind of information related to the drug. Okay, into the next slide. So now coming to the interesting topic, that is causality assessment. So causality assessment means finding a causal relationship or causal association or a relationship between the drug and the drug reaction. It is an evaluation of the likelihood that a particular treatment is caused or an observed ADR. So means like it is a kind of, you can say, percentage, or you can say contribution factor kind of thing, in which you can assess the likelihood, like if a drug is responsible for this event or not. How much percentage you are sure, whether you are sure with 500% pakka that this is the only drug which is responsible for this ADR, or you are 100% sure that this is the reason for this drug is reason for the ADR, or you are sure by 50-50%. So that kind of, based on some logics, they have to decide the likelihood, like this much percentage of the reason, okay, and that drug is responsible for that event. This is an important and challenging part for pharmacovigilance, in which attempts are made to find out the exact drug responsible for the causing drug reactions. Okay, so like in the case when you are taking multiple drugs and you are experiencing some adverse event, you cannot conclude which is the drug responsible for that event. So that can be done through this causality assessment thing. Okay, now coming to the next slide. So when to use this causality assessment, actually, it is a regulatory requirement. Okay, causality assessment in for each report is mandatory when submitting reports to. When we need to submit the reports to these regulatory authorities, then yes, we have to have this information of causality assessment. If we want to publish some case report, then it is required. Okay, and when we are doing submitting the case, or we are processing the individual patient cases, then also we require the causal association or causality assessment. Moving to the next slide. So types of causality assessment models. So there are certain kind of causality assessment models. Like so many times there is a like expert judgment that based on their previous knowledge and experience they judge, like how you can judge based on your previous experience only, because like if you have taken some drug ABC, okay, and you experience some event that is like dizziness. So, and even some again you are experiencing the same, means you are sure that ABC drug will cause dizziness. Okay, so based on that kind of judgment, or based on that kind of experience which we have in the past, or that, or you can say, because when we are saying that we are ADR are reported to the doctors, so doctors are the expert people who knows that this ABC drug is responsible for causing this dizziness. Okay, and there are certain other methods. So which are those? Like some algorithms are there. Based on that, we can assess the causal relationship. There are, and in algorithm, we have certain kind of questions to estimate the strength of the causal relationship. And there are certain probabilistic approaches in which what we will do, we transform the prior estimates of the probability into the posterior estimate of the probability for the causation. So it is nothing, it is like what happened in previously and what is the extent. Okay, like what happened in past with the drug and what is the extent, what is the severity, whether it was serious or not serious, that event, and now it is again happening. And if it is happening in the same extent, then yes, it is a same thing causing the same issue. Or you can say when you are saying that ABC drug and you are taking XYZ drug both in a same time and you are feeling dizziness with headache. Now, but previously you are experienced that ABCD was causing the dizziness. So now based on that specificity that you can conclude that ABC is for dizziness and XYZ drug is for your headache. Okay. So these kind of approaches we can follow to express the, or you can say assess the causality assessment. Okay. Now, the next slide. So there are certain kind of scales or certain kind of, so I have covered very popular two of the two scales. That is first is the WHO scale and second is the Naranjo scale. So when we have to assess causality of an event pair, drug event pair, so based on the WHO causality scale, so these are the four criteria, okay, in which we have to assess the causality assessment. And what are those? Those are like certain, second is the probable, third is the possible, and fourth is the unlikely. Okay. So what is that? Certain means you are 200% sure that this is the drug and which we have taken and this event was happened because of this drug. Okay. And what is probable and likely? Probable and likely, you cannot conclude directly, but if you have the certain evidence, okay, like you have test abnormalities, you have the laboratory reports, okay, which is like unlikely to be attributed to the concurrent conditions or the some concurrent conditions are also there. Based on that, you can conclude that yes, this is the event pair, and because of that it happens, then it is a probable likely. And possible is just a chance, kind of chance. Okay, even based on that laboratory or test result, you are not sure that it is happened, but there are some, no other, you are not able to conclude whether it is certain or whether it is probable, then you are saying it is possible because you have taken all the laboratory tests, but you are not able to conclude in that laboratory test as well. Then we are saying possible. Possible means maybe there is a chance that this drug may cause that event. Okay. So what is certain? Certain is sure 200% pakka that this event is happened because of this drug. Probable based on the laboratory findings, you come to conclude that yes, that might be. And when you are not able to conclude based on whether it is a certain or probable, and you still it is not concluded based on the laboratory finding, then it is a possible. And even there is no temporal relationship between, like I have taken the drug 2 days before and I am experiencing the event 10 days after, then there is no relationship between the drug and event which I am experiencing. Okay, means the time gap. The time gap which is I am experiencing event and the drug taken between that. If there is no relationship between that, then it is unlikely and it is not reported in any of your lab tests or any of your clinical investigations, then it is unlikely. So these are the four criteria based on the WHO scale for causality, what are those? Certain, 200% pakka, probable, that is based on the laboratory, you can conclude when, okay, and when you are not able to conclude based on the laboratory as well, but there is a causal relationship, or you can say the temporal relationship, then it is possible. And when there is a, we are not able to establish the temporal relationship as well, and there is nothing in the laboratory test, then it will be the unlikely only. Okay. So this is like what, based on WHO classification, based on the time relationship and the contributing factors like certain, and there's a kind of thing which is called D challenge and D challenge. So when certain is what? Certain when time relationship is there and D challenge no required. Okay. Then it is like probable. Probable means there is a time relationship, and the D challenge means we do not require to have re-administration of the drug. Possible is something like time relationship may be there, okay, and it is possible, and unlikely means I told you there is a improbable, there is no requirement of the time relationship, there is no establishment of the time and the drug taken and the event happens, and so it is, and there's no other contributing factors which is possible. Okay, now coming to the next, that is the Naranjo. That is the Naranjo scale. So what is that Naranjo scale? So Naranjo scale or Naranjo algorithm is nothing, but it is something which is called as the, based on that these, there are certain sets of questions. Okay, and these are the 10 questions, and we have to answer it on yes, no, or unsure. Okay, question mark means unsure or you are not clear about that question. Okay, what are those questions? Are there previous conclusive reports on these reactions? Okay, did the event appears after the suspect drug was administered? Okay, did the adverse reactions improve when the drug was? So you have to put, these are the questions, set of 10 questions, and you have to put your answer as yes, no, and not sure. Okay, and based on the scores which we conclude, we can conclude whether the case is like the causal association is certain, likely, or what it is. So when suppose your score is coming something 9, 10 based on these questions, so I think I have like this. So the algorithm sum score, what is it when the, for certain the score should be more than 9, for probable the score may be 5 to 8, in between 5 to 8, and if it is less than 5 means in between 1 to 4, then it is possible, and if it is equals to or less than 0, then it is unlikely. Okay, guys, is it clear till here? Please say type yes or no. Okay, I believe it is clear. Okay, someone is saying yes, sir. Yes. Okay, we should continue. Okay, guys, very good. So benefits of causality assessment. What is the benefit of causality assessment? So it gives you the accurate quantitative measurement of the likelihood. Likelihood is what? It is nothing. It is just whether this is happened because of this or not. Okay. Distinguish between valid and invalid cases. Why valid and invalid? If you have taken your drug, okay, and you are experiencing something, some ADR which is not because of your drug, then it may be an invalid case. Okay. because you are assessing those causality only, whether your drug is responsible for causing this event or not. Okay, if it is causing, then it is a valid case for you, and if that drug is not contributing or that is not for that particular area, then it is an invalid case. Okay, proof of connection between the drug and ingredient. Yes, it is fine. Quantify the contribution of the drug to the development of the AE. Okay, means till what extent, till what extent of that drug is responsible to develop that adverse event. Okay, and change uncertainty into certain means when uncertainty means the information which was unclear, we are not able to assess properly, we are not able to establish the causal relationship, we are not able to assess the temporal relationship. Okay, so that uncertainty is completed into certainty or converted into certainty based on these scores, which we have seen in the previous slide, or based on this as well. Okay. There is one more thing, that is re-challenge, I believe. So yes, uh, re-challenge. So what is re-challenge and what is re-challenge? This is something again, so many times it was asked to the PV interviews and PV questionnaires, that re-challenge is process of withdrawing of the drug. Okay, means when you are taking drug first time, it is called as, means why it is called re-challenge. Suppose you are taking a drug to cure some event or cure your some disease. It means you are challenging that condition, okay, with the help of your drug. And when you are withdrawing your drug, it means you are coming one step back. That means you are denying it and you are saying it re-challenge. Okay. So that is called re-challenge. And when you are reintroducing the drug, once you stop that drug, that is called re-challenge. And when you reintroduce the drug, that is called re-challenge. Means you are re-challenging again. You are challenging again. Okay. So same way, like re-challenge may be positive or negative, or re-challenge may be positive or negative. Based on, so we will come to know in next slide when a re-challenge and re-challenge may be positive or negative. So positive re-challenge is like when we stop the drug and the AE disappears. Like you have taken the drug and you are experiencing some ADR. Once you stop the drug and your AE also disappears, that is a positive re-challenge. Okay. And what is the negative re-challenge? Once you stop the drug and A did not disappears, that is called a negative re-challenge. Now coming to the re-challenge. Once positive re-challenge means you have reintroduced the drug and your A comes back. Like you have stopped the drug and your event also stopped, then it is a positive re-challenge. But if you reintroduce the drug and your A again happens, then it is a positive re-challenge. And what is negative re-challenge? Once you reintroduce the drug, but A do not occur. Okay, or you do not experience the ADR at that time, that re-challenge is called negative re-challenge. Okay, so this is, you can take a snapshot of this slide because this is again a very burning questions in the interview of the PV. So I believe I have completed the today's class. If you have any queries, guys, I will stop sharing my screen. And if you have any query for me, I am open for that. Any queries? I am just opening the chat box. If no queries and no then I believe we can wrap up the session. What is most common used positive assessment scale? So basically, it is a WHO scale. Most of the time, it is WHO scale, and like in and nowadays for the databases which are coming, those are in have the functionality of inbuilt WHO scale. So that's why it is called a most common scale, because it is a WHO scale. Because you do not have to do any kind of scoring and anything. You do not have to ask the question to the patient or to the reporter, because this is the actually a catch. Every time you need to connect to the reporter or to the consumer for asking the questions and for establishing the causal relationship for that narrative skill. And based on that score, you can conclude whether it is unlikely or whether it is a certain or possible probable. Any other query? Uh, okay. Thank you guys very much for your patience. Have a lovely evening ahead. Thank you. Bye. We are good to wrap up. Thank you.